She was 1/3 of the Lady Triangle. In fact, the most intense love triangle I think I've ever seen. I didn't watch season 2. But I did love season 1, and I certainly, as you watched with me, I loved season 3. Her name is Beck, and she's here right now. Hey, Beck.
Hi.
Thank you so much for reaching out and saying that you wanted to have a chat, because I love when that happens. Now, you would have seen some bits and pieces on Rehashed that I was shouting the entire season, which I do for all the shows, but I really shouted a lot at this one because there was so much missing. And I know that it was like 7 episodes of like core content from the show, and then the 8th episode was just the reunion. So there was a lot of stuff that we missed from the Lady Triangle, yours in particular. Firstly, congratulations on being in an actual triangle and not a love line.
Thank you.
I feel like that's a good win for you.
Yeah, I'll take it, I guess.
Take anything you can at this stage. Firstly, I wanted to clarify something, because the first thing that the edit had shown us, and I understand that this is how reality TV shows work, and they make you look like a very two-dimensional person, and they cut out all the bits and pieces that kind of really make you who you are, the spice that that you are as a human. But first up, it made it seem like you were not into feminine presenting women. And after me stalking you, before we got to when I did a live show, I stalked you. I was like, I don't know, Beck says that she's into all women as long as they're not shit. And I was a bit confused at that. So let's set the record not straight.
Okay, so I am into every type when it comes to women, like not specifically just masculine. I think they really rolled with that. And I think that was a poor edit on my end. But no, into feminine, into the masculine, like there was no strictly one side.
I didn't think so. And as a gay man, I don't fit, unfortunately, into any category. Because obviously, you know, we love, in the queer world, we love categories.
We love labels.
Oh, God, we love them so much. Even though when we're coming out, we're like, don't label me. Then all of a sudden we're in a world of labels.
Yes.
And I don't really fit into any of them. So when I was looking at you, I was like, well, you're kind of masc and femme. Like everything that you sort of put out online represents as both. So it'd be weird for you to go, no, I just want one.
Yeah, no, I just feel like I dress the way that I want to dress. I feel like I don't lean towards more feminine or masculine. Like if I want to dress a certain way, I will. But yeah, I just think it was a really bad edit, unfortunately.
Because you didn't say that you don't like feminine presenting women. You just said, oh, I've dated people who have been more masc in the past. And then it kind of read as this sort of dramatic thing because it seemed like Chloe wasn't down with it. So you weren't disappointed when you met Chloe?
No, I thought she was beautiful. Like we went and had a one-on-one interview and I was like, oh my God, she's gorgeous. I was like, I feel like I've lucked out here. Of course, they didn't show any of that. But I was like, I have nothing bad to say. She's gorgeous and I'm so excited to get to know her. But yeah, that all got cut.
It's always the way when you're going to say something that's like, yes, no, I really, really liked her. And then none of that made it into it. So we go into this thinking, well, Beck's actually not that interested in Chloe. So obviously as the audience, and we're, you know, trying to take everything as face value, which is never good with these shows. But then the turnaround for this was that you had that little picnic, which, side note, later on when Emma has a picnic, the way that it made it seem like you were so dirty that you had a picnic.
I know.
And you were like, well, I guess I started a trend because picnics have already been done by me. Sorry, Emma. I loved that. But when you had the picnic and you wrote that letter, which was actually really beautiful, and you both got emotional and it seemed like you were trying to like let down some walls. It was so confusing because I was like, hang on, but you're not actually really into her. So it was so confusing.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I feel like Chloe and my storyline didn't get portrayed at all. I like even counted myself. I think within the first 3 episodes, we had maybe like 15 minutes of airtime. Our storyline wasn't shown. We had some beautiful, beautiful dates together. We had a whole, like, we sat and we got acai and we had our coming out stories and we really bonded and we had some beautiful dinner dates. Like, they didn't even show our first dinner date, which I'm really surprised that they didn't. But yeah, even watching that back, I was like, wow, our storyline doesn't make sense at all. Like, you don't see a connection between Chloe and I, but we really did bond.
It is so weird. Now that you mentioned it, I was like, no, we didn't see that dinner date. And obviously they want you to assume the thing that I did assume, which was it wasn't very good because you weren't that interested.
No, we had a beautiful day. We sat across, like, to be fair, the table was really far from each other, but, like, I had a really nice time, really got to know each other. Like, it was a genuinely nice date that we were both like, why wasn't it shown?
Oh, that's so frustrating. That's got to, and obviously you just never know when you're in a reality setting, like what's going to get shown and what's not going to get shown. So it's just like, you're just going with it. You're living your life. And then later on, you're like, wow, all of the context of our relationship is gone.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, watching it all back, I was genuinely shocked. I was like, oh, that was manipulated, or that was changed, or that actually wasn't worded the way that it was said, and it was just disappointing, to be honest.
Now we know that you had a bit of a connection with Chloe, and then the drama unfolds because E, who even I thought, as I think it was like it was like a machinery operator or something, which is what my dad does. And I was like, well, and I thought very basic TV. I thought, well, they can't have three ladies in a house. You know, Australian TV, I don't know if we're ready for it. Even though it's 2025 and we fucking should be. I thought that they were definitely going to put a guy in there because that would be what was expected. And I was actually shocked. So well done, production, because I was actually shocked. And then Emma arrives and she's beautiful and she's got this vibe and energy, and the narrative is telling us that you're basically going, bye-bye, Chloe. I'm done with you. Now I want myself a piece of Emma, because she's exactly that masc thing that I was looking for at the start of this, which you weren't. And so that sort of happened. So what did we miss with that?
So I actually knew Emma.
I love that.
Yeah, Emma and I had each other on social media. I can't say we had much of a conversation, if ever. I think we had like a very brief, something about a concert. But when she came to the door, I was like, oh, Emma. And production were like, oh, they know each other. So we got split. And the question was, how do you know her? And I was like, oh, we have each other on social media. They're like, oh, you interested in her? And I was like, whoa, isn't the point of me being here to get to know Chloe? And they said, well, you've said that masculine is more your type. Would you be interested in getting to know her? And I challenged that. And I was like, no, because that's not what the point of this show is. I'm here for Chloe. This is going to make me look really bad if I pose that question. And they were like, it's just a question at the end of the day. Me, naive to it, didn't think anything of it. I was like, to be fair, it is just a question. So, yeah, posed that question, and then that's when it all, I think, went downhill. I regretted asking that question. I feel like I was manipulated into asking it. Like, I genuinely didn't know any better at the time.
Yeah.
But I think that's what made it really difficult between all of us, because I'm not the kind of person that likes to get to know two people at once. Like, it feels very ingenuine. I didn't feel like I was doing a service to Chloe or to Emma. That's from there on where I really struggled.
And obviously you're the one who posed that question, that, you know, it was beautiful producer bait and it's led you down a path. You obviously would have felt really guilty then, like you said, that you've said this question and now because of this one little thing, it's sort of started to unravel the vibe in the house.
Oh, 100%. Like, I don't blame Chloe for questioning my letter or like anything that I said to her, because if roles were reversed, I'd 100% be like, whoa, none of that was genuine. But then, like, I had to think about it like later that night and I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Like, I think that's going to get posed really poorly. Like, that's not on my character at all. Like, I genuinely regretted it and felt so bad from there.
Are you an overthinker?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, you know, you do all this stuff during the day and then at night you're lying there thinking about everything that you've said and all the things that you might have been sort of just led down a path to say. And so knowing your brain now that you're an overthinker, you just be lying there just running around in your head over and over again about, holy shit, what have I done?
Literally, yeah. That's all I thought about. I was like, I fucked it. I feel like I've genuinely fucked it now.
Oh, God, that sucks. And it's the storyline, obviously, for you is that you didn't really have a connection with Chloe, and then you wrote this letter, and then it was like on for a hot second, and you guys had a nice kiss and a genuine moment, and then Emma's arrived, and you're all hot for Emma, and then you go for lawn bowls, which is a, I guess, a great first date. The date itself, I don't know. I didn't know. It felt like you guys had chemistry, which was nice. Mm-hmm. But then also in my brain, I was like, are they just fucking around because they know that they have to have this date? Or I couldn't tell what was like fully genuine and what wasn't. And then all of a sudden it goes really cold, which is extremely confusing. And then you've got to go. So let's talk about like you go on this date. What are you feeling with Emma, who you kind of knew?
Yeah, I think with Emma it felt friendly, like in the terms of like we had each other on social media, so I was like, oh, it's kind of someone I already know.
Yeah, you've seen her.
So it was a really fun date, like don't get me wrong, but I think like in my one-on-one interviews there's a section that's like my feelings are growing for Emma, and I laugh because it just feels so ingenuine. Like I was just like, this isn't normally something I would do. Like I have built such a great character with Chloe, and now I'm on this date that I'm just like, production are like, can you say this? And I was like, okay, at this point, I'm growing feelings for Emma. Like, it just was very ingenuine.
Yeah.
It was very producer heavy, being like, can you say this? And I was like, okay.
Yeah, and so when I was watching it looked like you guys were just being really comfortable with each other. The pieces to camera didn't seem to fit that. They seemed like, I don't know, too over the top, like too enthusiastic. And I was like, whoa. Especially because it seemed like in the edit that Emma was saying, no, I don't think it's right for us to actually want to have this connection, but it also painted you out to be this harlequin that was like, no, I think we should have a connection. So it was really weird that Emma all of a sudden then turned and was like, no, I think we should. I think we're great together as well. We're having a great time. So it was so confusing to me.
Yeah, like the whole bit where I come up behind Emma, they were like, oh, can you go up behind Emma and lawn bowl? And I was like, I would never do that. And they were like, it would be good. And I was like, okay. So it just felt so silly because it was just so produced heavy by them. It just felt ingenuine.
And then it goes from that, which is obviously pretty produced. So you're still thinking, well, I'm here for the top of the triangle. I'm one of the suitors. And then all of a sudden we have this sort of moment at the dinner party where Chloe's sort of basically saying, if there's doubt, there's no doubt. Is that the exact phrase? And
yes.
Then Emma's really put off. During that, can I just say that you made me laugh so much because Chloe and Bernie are really like into each other's conversation, and you've just got this sassy whole face, which I love so much as you're drinking your drink, just watching all of it unfold. And I was just like, God, I want to know what Beck's thinking.
Yeah. So they showed, let's add some context here. They showed that I had moved out at the end. I actually moved out before that dinner party.
Right. Okay. That makes more sense.
So when I was sitting, I was like, I felt like I had fucked it with Chloe at that point. I felt like there was no like romantic connection anymore, which is completely fair. I don't blame her for pursuing things with Bernie at that point.
She shut down.
Yeah, I don't blame her. So when I was sitting there, I was just like, oh, I can see this unfolding. Because Bernie and I were actually really close. That wasn't shown at all. And he turned to me at one section and he's like, I think you know what my type is. And I was like, yeah, I think I know you do. So then when I saw that unfolding, I was like, oh, yeah, that's obvious to me.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I thought you were just like watching two people like really connect in front of you. And I was like, God, I love doing this. When you're out at a bar and you're seeing two people and you're like, oh my God, you guys are going to do stuff.
Mm-hmm, you're going to get it on.
Yeah, and that's what I thought the face was. So I was really confused. Okay, so obviously you'd left the house already, the Airbnb, and you went to the dinner party. So at that stage, I guess you were like fully kind of disconnected from finding love, but you were just there.
Yeah, I like generally really struggled from me posing the question things with Emma. Like I knew I fucked it, and then I was just like, there's no point in me being here anymore. I really struggled. Like I said in the show, it felt like I was cheating, getting to know two girls at once. So like the conversation that was shown of me moving out, like I posed that to Emma and I was like, Emma, I promise it has nothing to do with you, but I don't have the space to get to know you. And then turned to Chloe and said, I still want to get to know you only because production asked me to stay. I knew at that point that it wasn't going to go anywhere, unfortunately. But I wanted to leave, but production was like, no, Chloe still really wants to get to know you. And had I known on the outskirts that, you know, Bernie and Chloe were pursuing each other, I would have put my foot down to leave. Yeah.
During the time in it, it seemed like your brain, considering you're an overthinker, was not a great environment for your brain to be in. Were you struggling mentally during that? Like, was it just the things that were happening, or was there other stuff that was going on in your life that were placing extra struggle, or was it purely the situation that you're in?
It was purely just the situation. Like, we weren't allowed to have our phones all day. The filming hours were long. You'd start sometimes early morning and then finishing at like 3 a.m. They were exhausting. We weren't allowed to see friends. We weren't allowed to see family. And all you had was the person that you were in the house with. And then it just felt like a bit of a stranger. Like, I'm the person that enjoys a slow burn and really getting to know someone, and everything just felt so production heavy. Like, you need to get to know Chloe, you need to do this. And I was like, that's just not me. And it felt like a lot of pressure, and it really got to me. I had 3 panic attacks on camera. One of them was shown, but it was a really confronting experience for me. Like, I genuinely really struggled.
Speaking of that, at the reunion, you had to leave. You had to walk out for a bit. But I was really confused as to when the walkout happened, because it seemed like it was like the news about Bernie had just dropped and then you left. But the news, I could see you in the background, and the news of Bernie dropped and you seemed okay. And then all of a sudden there was tears later on. So had we missed something in there?
No, there wasn't really anything missed. I think it just took me a little bit to like process what it was.
Process it, yeah.
Yeah, and then I also had to relive it again. Like, I was already really struggling in the experience, then leaving, and then having that break between the last episode and then reunion, and then to watch it all again. I was like, oh my God, this sucks. Like, it was really hard. And it just annoyed me as well. Like, production were like, no, stay. And I was pushing to leave, and they were like, no, promise, like, stay. And then to watch that, I was like, I should have left sooner.
So how long were you off stage for during the reunion?
Not long. I think I took like 10 minutes. I just needed to compose myself. I was like, when I have a panic attack, I know I'm not in any frame to talk to anyone. So I was like, I just need to reset myself. So I was only gone for, I think, 10 minutes. And
it's got to suck being in that environment, and good for you for like removing yourself from that environment. A lot of people would have felt the pressure to just like stay there and do it. To lighten the mood. God, your hair looked good.
Thank you.
It looked so good. I was mesmerized. Every time I could see you in the back of any shot, I was like, look at that hair. It's just it's like perfectly straight, and it was glowing.
And when I
really did
watched that
for
episode that you reviewed, I was like, oh, I needed that compliment. Thank you.
You said you know Bernie a little bit. Bernie, I found as a very interesting character. I couldn't help but laugh a lot with Bernie because he has a very strong personality, and we're all flawed, and that's why I love reality TV. I hate reality TV for the over editing, but I love that we're all flawed, and unfortunately with reality you only mostly see the flawed bits. But he can be very charming and very funny. What's your takeaway for someone like Bernie who's come out of this not looking that good at all?
From what I knew, Bernie, I only really spoke to him at the dinner parties, so I never saw behind the scenes or like what he said. So sitting at the reunion watching that back, I was generally taken aback because I was like, oh, I feel like I've really misread this man. And I think that's what upset me as well, because I was like, I thought he and I got along really well. I can't really speak on his experience. I really only got to know him at those dinner parties, but I fear in a way we all get badly edited as well. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know that experience.
I feel like this particular season, like no one came out, maybe Jazz came out looking good. But I feel like, and Dante, Dante still had his little moment that they obviously, we'll talk about that another time. But I feel like I think the struggle with this season was that it was so edited to show most of the bad. It was hard to like connect to people and root for them. So you'd be like, well, I can't really root for Beck because I can't really grasp what's real about Beck because I've just seen that she's not really apparently into femme-presenting women, and that's kind of it. And now she wants Emma. So where do you stand now with everybody? Like, are you guys still chatting? Is there a group chat? Like, what's the deal?
Chloe and I reconnected about 2 weeks after the reunion. I think once you realize that everything's for TV and all the emotions are high and they want a reaction out of you, I think once I put my emotions aside, I was like, it's actually not that big of a deal at the end of the day. So I messaged her and I was like, hey, I'd really love to go to dinner, and we chatted out everything, and we've been like really good gal pals since. I reached out to Emma after the show, and I think she just wanted her space, which I completely understand. I think it was really took an impact on her, which I agree entirely. Yeah. So I haven't heard from her since, but I wish her all the best. And then everyone else I'm kind of cool with. I was closer to Marissa more than anyone since watching it, but I think we're all really on good terms from my end.
And you can tell me to fuck off. That's fine. We're allowed to do that on this channel. Just by stalking you, are we looking? Are we not looking? Are we happy single? Are we with someone? What's the deal?
Happy single,
Great.
but would love to find someone, absolutely. But I think I'm in no rush to do so. Like I've always said, my next person, I'd kind of like to be my last. So I really want to take the time to make sure my next person is that person. I'm definitely a person that loves a slow burn. I'm not a U-Haul lesbian, breaking any stereotypes there. But yeah, active, I would say looking, yes.
When it comes to dating, like I was in a long-term relationship, then I was single for a couple of years and I was on the apps, and I've been in a new relationship for about 7 months. 7 months. Yeah, I'll say 7 months. My time on the dating apps, I tell you what, I know we talk about it a lot on Rehashed, but I don't think people who are in committed relationships understand, especially if you haven't been on dating apps or ever. Maybe some of my friends had never been on them, which is wild. They had too much fun on my Tinder. People don't realize how bad dating is now. Like, it is so bad.
Yeah. It's actually in the trenches. Like, I thought it would be so much easier, and it's not. Like, no. I think people in relationships should really appreciate what they have, because we're on the outsides being like, this actually fucking sucks. It really does. Like, I see way too many of my friends get fucked over. I've been in that situation too. Like, I genuinely didn't know it was going to be this hard.
I have a Subaru, and my lesbian friends make fun of me for having a Subaru. So I feel we have some sort of kinship, even though you're not a U-Haul lesbian. Thank you so much for reaching out to me and having a chat. I'm so glad that I got to hear all these other bits and pieces. And now it really matches the person that I see on social media and not the person that I saw on the television dating show.
Yes.
Because I was like, I don't know who's the real person.
No, I fear I just got really bad at it.
Well, and you know what? You weren't that villainous. So at least, like, if you see, here's the thing. If the editors, to you, if you're going to go villain edit, go all the way. Go all the way. But like Beck was just a bit like, what? I don't understand it. I want to see full villain. Beck, thank you so much for chatting to me. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for taking the time.